You see, water isn't wet because water doesn't have a state of being dry, so it can't be wet either. Like if you take this paper towel and then pour like some water on it, it becomes wet. That's only because the paper towel had a state of being dry before it was wet. So like if a fish has lived in water its entire life. So is it really wet? Because if water isn't wet, then since the fish has lived their entire life and it came out of the water, it wouldn't be dry. It would be the other way around. It would be wet and not dry. But then, like us, we think that we're dry. But then, if we touch water, we think we'll get wet. But that doesn't mean that we'll be wet because, yeah, water, water isn't wet because you see the water molecules of the quantum physics of life expansion and universe doesn't add up to equal up to be wet. Because you see, water doesn't have a state of being dry, so it can't be wet either. Because you touch water and you're like, oh, it's wet, but it doesn't work that way because have you ever seen dry water before? Exactly. See, water can't be wet or dry, so it's neither. Because you see, our eyes can't see all the particles in water, so we don't know what we don't know. You know, in water, there's like if you get a microscope, there's little tiny like particle things in it, and they look like crystals. You know, so if you think about that, that doesn't make sense. Water can't be wet because like the paper towel can be dry and it can be wet too, but water can't be dry, so it can't be wet. Does that make sense? Okay, because you see, if you look at this glass of water, here, hold on, this pen's really bad. Let me get another one. You see, water, so here's our glass of water here. If you take the triangular angulus of, it's 90 degrees, and then if you angle it out to be it's like 10, yeah, and then the numbers, and if you have that branch out to look at water, and then you can see that it just doesn't add up. You take pi and you divide it 2 goes, okay, and then make sure you do this right. It's just basic math. So what's that? I don't know if that is, yeah, it goes out something like then if you go anyway, so that tells you that, see, that's the equation to figure out if it's wet or not. But you see, this doesn't look like right. It just doesn't add up, you know? So that proves you the water isn't wet, but it's not dry either. It's like neutral, you know? It's like neither. Yeah, it's just neither, because if you were to be, if you were to like, but then how is water not wet? Because we're like 70 or 80% water or something like that. But then we're dry. Wait a minute. If you think about it, if we're like 80% water, but yet we're still dry, that proves the water isn't wet. Because you see, like us, like you'd think that we're dry, right? But then if you were to touch water, you'd be wet. But that just doesn't... See, that totally proves it, because if you touch water, then you'd be wet. But if we're 80% water and we're dry, yeah, all that adds up. You see, it's just basic quantum physics of figuring out how to how to do water calculations. You see, if we see that cup of water, oh, this doesn't focus, but you see yeah, like if we were to touch water, we'd be wet. But that would mean that we're dry, but we're 80% water, so water's dry, or it's neither. It's either one of those. It's not wet though, because if you actually think about it, it can't be wet. All this evidence I've given and stuff, it's just not wet. Because you see, if you look at the map of the world, you can see that. Oh, that's actually Utah, but you see, there's like a little lake and stuff, and there's like other things. Okay, because you see that, like, dinosaurs, they were here a long time ago, but yeah, they're obviously extinct now. Some people believe they're still alive, but yeah, there's a little spot of water. There's a lot of water in the world, and the northwest, south, and east all point to a direction of altitude to equal if water is wet or not. And if you look at math, you see that a equals the square root of x to the second power minus y, and then your equation would be on the bottom, which would be z. So if you look at this right here, you see that water 35, 22, 25, all those numbers and stuff, they all add up to be something. And the water, which is H2O, and then hydrogen and 2 oxygen, that's what water is. And yeah, you can see this little chart thing here, and there's all this stuff on it. And as you can see, there's all this stuff. There's the triangle, there's everything. There's NEZ to the first power, there's C2, W5, there's 100G, 6G, ZS to the first power, NZ, on pi over 5G, C4, TS to the third power, 1.25, 1.25, over 5.666, repeating, COS, I'm not sure what that really stands for, but there's oxygen, 0.013, and yeah, the triangle, and then H2O at the top, because that's water, and if you see that, you can know that, water isn't wet, because this stuff, adds up to tell you that water isn't wet, because you see, there's so much, like, evidence here. You know, you have to be stupid to think that water is wet. How can it be wet? Because again, water has never been dry before. I mean, you can't call dry water air, because that would be gas form, but there would be nothing there, and yeah, so you see, there's water, but there's nothing softer and weaker than water, and there is nothing better for attacking hard and strong things. And the Chinese sage Lao Tzu started this paradox in ancient text, the Tao Te Ching. Indeed, water's ability to wash, smooth, and nourish contrasts with its brute power as exhibited by Niagara Falls, the Grand Canyon carved over time by Colorado River, and tsunamis. Similarity paradox of water is extremely familiar to CO2, combining things that doesn't add up to things they were supposed to be. And if you see third of our own bodies conserving 3/4 extremely mysterious, though you know it is so well for as properties, completely surprising you. Others are strange, but they elude scientific understanding. So, if you look at that, you can see that it's just saying a logical person might assume that it would take longer for hot water to plunge down the temperature scale to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius, and freeze than would cold water. But oddly enough, this is not always the case. As first observed by Tanzania, an high school student Ernesto Repertibida. In 1963, hot water actually freezes faster than cold water. Then the two bodies of water are exposed to the same sub-zero surroundings, and no one knows why. One possibility could be the Embeda-Beda effect, results from a heat circulatory process. Yeah, geez, hold on a second. There's a lot of stuff I'm saying. Let me get a drink of water. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so... yeah, okay, so you see, all existing material in space considered as a whole, the cosmos, the universe, is believed to be at least 10 billion light years in diameter and contains a vast number of galaxies. It has been expanding since its creation in the Big Bang about 13 billion years ago. Cosmos, macrosis, totally whole world creation, outer space, the heavens of the firmament, more. The pearl now would be the universe is in front of the pearl, or the hub of the universe, and the physical universe is defined as all of the space-time collectively referring to as the space-time as their contestants, such as the comprise of all energy in its various forms, including astronomical radiation, and therefore planets, moons, stars, and galaxies' contents of interglacial space means that water is not wet. I mean, at least 50 to the 53rd power in kilograms. The estimated size of the observable universe is, of course, much larger according to the current thinking. It is about 93 billion light years in diameter. So that's a pretty big universe, and to think that all the water in the whole universe isn't wet. It's all dry, like weird, and it's so weird because in this whole universe, you know, and things just don't add up, and but they should add up, you know, and you know, things it just don't make sense, you know. I mean, I think I pretty much proved my point. Like, I don't know what else to put in this video, but yeah, I guess I'll just wrap it up. You know, water is not wet. I mean, you know, just it's not wet. Can't be wet. There's no way. Yeah, see you guys in the next video.